First of all, welcome everyone to this week's PTC Talks, where we are honored by having Andreas Pabinger, who is the Global Head of Automotive in the Codebeamer team at PTC. And he's actually here for the second time in just a few months, but this time he will have a session about why the transition to software-defined innovation is the most critical success factor for automotive OEMs. So my name is Torbjörn Peterson, and I'm the Alliance Manager for PTC in the Nordics, and we are running all these webinars on Fridays every week, same time, where we invite also customers and partners for some inspiration on digital transformation to see what is possible and how to make things happen. And all the past webinars have also been recorded and out to be found on the registration site. Then the agenda for today is first a quick overview of PTC by my colleague Carl from the Customer Success team. And then Andreas will run the show by introducing himself, touch base on a few challenges, how to address these, and then explain some of the business outcomes. And at the end, we are also having a Q&A session, so please keep your questions to the end. You may also, put them in the chat, and we will pick them up later. So now over to you, Carl.
Thank you, Torbjörn. So PTC is an international software company with headquarters based in Boston. We are developing software mainly for manufacturing companies since 1985. We offer tools for the digital transformation, such as CAD for design, PLM for managing data, IoT to connect products and manufacturing operations, and augmented reality to visualize and interact with the digital thread. To you, Andreas.
Great, yes. Thanks, Torben. Thanks, Carl, for the intro. And as said by Carl, my name is Andreas Pabinger. I'm Global Head of Automotive ALM at PTC, and it's a pleasure to have you with us today, just before a beautiful spring weekend in May. And yes, what are we discussing today? We are discussing, how software-driven innovation is important and why it's critical for the success of the automotive industry, especially OEMs. And I will, start with a few, thoughts about challenges and what's going on in the industry. Then we talk about success factors, also agile development and why agile development is important. We will talk about value and critical success factors. And also at the end, I will give an overview of some, mostly OEMs, but also tier ones. Why are they using Codebeamer and how it is helping for them to create value and to actually, achieve software-driven innovation. We call it by purpose, not software-defined vehicles, software-driven innovation, since it's essential, as we will see. Okay, good. So we have half an hour and I have lots of slides as usual. So let's get started with our agenda and with all the details here. Yeah. Yes, last time I shared also ACES, and it continues obviously to be very, very relevant and important. I actually extended it with, the following view, which is kind of, showing some impact in terms of what, ACES has as implication. And as you see, it has an implication obviously on the design, safety, security, over-the-air updates, and also in terms of trends, there are quite strong impacts. Yeah, the market is still developing, and the market actually, when you look at it from a global point of view, is quite inhomogeneous or heterogeneous, rather to say. Yeah, there are different dynamics, and we will see actual analysis just in a few seconds from Price Waterhouse about that. Yeah, so basically, ACES has an impact on the design, on the architecture, and on the ecosystem. on multiple factors, and it is quite significant and has a very strong relevance. Yeah. So in terms of market situation, especially with respect to automotive, I want to, put a few provocative statements out. Yeah, software on wheels, too much custom development, lack of software specialists, so some of the challenges, yeah. Software industry or software is immature compared to automotive, yeah. So, it depends on, from which perspective you look at it. The second last bullet, I believe, is very important. No standards still, yeah. Yes, there are standards. It's not true that there are no standards at all, but I picked an example here with respect to OSs, yeah. As we all know, there are several attempts and actually several, huge investments to actually build an OS stack linked to a particular OEM or brand. And yeah, there are some probably players which could have the possibility to actually create a standard, but it's still quite diverse right now. Yeah. Last, a bullet which is quite significant as well, also with respect to impact on quality, is reuse. So the level of reuse is still quite limited right now. Yeah. So here kind of a smiley assessment. Is it good? Yeah, okay. I think yes, it's very different than 5-10 years ago in terms of what you see also with respect to the in-vehicle cockpit GUI, the usability, the ease of use, usability, also connectivity. Is it fast? I would say when you look at the cycles, we still very often talk about upgrade cycles of 2, 3, 4 years. I have heard, I will not mention anything, but I have heard press releases about new generation of OSs coming out, and it's actually not a matter of quarters or half year, it's a matter of years. So it's not fast, I would say. Yeah. Is it cheap? Yeah, not really. I would say developing software based on the limits in terms of standards, the complexity, it's actually not where you can say it's cheap. It's actually quite expensive, yeah, right now still. Now, this slide here, as indicated, gives an overview of market trends. Yeah, so quite a busy slide because I compressed 4 slides in 1 slide. So I pointed out just the high level messages here. On the upper left, ADAS acceptance is low in key markets. Yeah, so the way the adoption is going on with respect to ADAS is not as fast as key market players expected. Subscription models actually are gaining popularity, yeah, on the upper right side. So the business models are changing, yeah, which was kind of predicted by PTC, by me also personally. The message here on the lower level, who will own the cockpit? I remember that last time we talked about that as well, or in several webinars I conducted. It's actually a big question with respect to who is owning the technology stack, who is having which power, and actually which innovation value is coming from whom. Yeah, and that will be actually divided amongst the OEMs, the big tech players, and let's say the classical tier 1s and tier 2s with the emerging tier 1s and tier 2s. Yeah, and with software-defined vehicle and software innovation, software becoming more and more important, the landscape actually is changing. Yeah. And also last but not least here, the BEV adoption. Yeah. So electrical vehicle adoption is actually lower in Germany, in the US compared to markets like China. Yeah. And that's also actually something which is important with respect to requirements management, because if you have different adoption levels, that has an impact on the investment portfolios, on the R&D strategies, on production strategies. It goes across the whole, let's say, industrial value creation chain, because it means that, with respect to different powertrains or model generations, there is higher complexity, and there needs to be the option to actually react to changing market trends or to market trends which actually have not been foreseen from an investment point of view. Yeah. So now those two slides are coming from, they are from Volkswagen. They are coming from a public presentation from a person from Volkswagen. I wanted to illustrate with those slides, as a manifest and as a confirmation of an OEM like Volkswagen, what is also on their, let's say, top priority list. Yeah, and you see what are the challenges here. Yeah, numerous challenges. Yeah, ASPICE, ISO, VDA, UNEC regulations, audits. Yeah, on the upper left side. On the lower right side, increasing significance of in-car software and connectivity. Yeah, and also Volkswagen is illustrating here, the lines of code they are foreseeing, which are actually in terms of lines of software code, which are running, considering the complete stack, from the operating system up to the application level. Yeah. So also Volkswagen is predicting about 200 to 300 million lines of code. I remember that not too long in the past, we actually looked at 100 million lines of code, and we are talking now at a level of up to 300 million lines of code. Yeah. No, so how do I want to continue? Software-driven innovation, why is it essential for OEMs? Yeah. This slide here shows an overview of ecosystem players, yeah, with the OEMs in the center. And I will not actually pick a particular player here. However, I want to actually mention one category. You see here players like SD, Intel, Infineon, NVIDIA. So my point here is that the semiconductor players, yeah, especially in connection with ACES and especially with autonomous driving, the semiconductor players will actually have a more and deeper strategic importance in the future. In our recent talk, actually, I also shared how the architectures are changing with software-defined vehicles, going from a very, let's say, federal architecture with multiple ECUs to central computing architectures linked to the internet and having the possibilities to do over-the-air updates. Yeah, so that actually is reflected by very, very strong central computing powers and different architectures. Yeah, but my point here really is that it's actually not simple. It's complex to manage such an ecosystem, and with the increasing importance of software, understanding software and being able to manage software complexity is key and essential. This is reflecting through what I said before, indicating the number of lines of code which are actually residing in a modern mobility device, and it has actually impacts on multiple levels. Yeah. So as indicated, software is very important for innovation. It is actually used in critical environments. So that means writing a line of code which is safety critical is normally much more expensive, and it has lots of process and regulatory and compliance implications. What is also important is we are having a transition in terms of methods and tools, especially from classical waterfall to agile development. Regulatory compliance is key, and the environment is quite dynamic. So those are challenges, in particular linked to software development and to the corresponding software development strategy. Now, this next slide shows an overview in terms of what are the challenges in managing complexity and the widening gap between productivity and complexity. Yeah. So those solid lines actually show the complexity, over time raising up for infotainment, for mission critical systems, for the software industry in general. And the dotted lines are more or less, indicating the productivity. Yeah. And what you see here is there's a gap. Yeah. Complexity is raising and moving up. However, productivity is not raising in the same rate. And that's obviously a challenge. Yeah. Because that normally means that the productivity is actually lagging back, and you are not able to deliver customer value as quickly as you want. Yeah. And that actually needs to be addressed. Yeah. And it has to be addressed, and it needs to be addressed. Yeah. Now, also linked to this complexity is the ecosystem. Yeah. This slide illustrates how Codebeamer can help to manage the ecosystem with the integrations of third-party development tools, yeah, with core integrations, custom integrations, integrations through OSLC, but also through classical syncing. Yeah. I wanted to illustrate with this slide that it's essential. And you also need to consider you always have, let's say, a brownfield environment. You never start from a pure greenfield environment. Application lifecycle management tool also needs to be able to integrate brownfield tools, legacy tools, which need to be kept up for a certain period of time, or in a transition period and a migration period, etc., etc. Yeah. Why is it important? Also, obviously, for software driven innovation, it is important because a heterogeneous tool chain means higher total cost of ownership. Ideally, you have a high level of integration and a high level of automation, but that's not always given. You need to make investments in order to achieve that. Yeah. But this slide illustrates, from a Codebeamer ALM point of view, what we have already out of the box and how PTC with Codebeamer can help you to manage the tool ecosystem. And again, the tool ecosystem is important for productivity, for managing complexity, and for software productivity. Software requirements management. This was actually prominently part of the title of the presentation. I want to actually share with you the following straightforward points. I know they're straightforward. You might say, look, Indy, yeah, we know that. Yeah. But, out of our experience, I felt it's worthwhile mentioning, it's worthwhile talking about it. Yeah. Essentially, software requirements management in a dynamic environment, I have indicated earlier, yeah, with, in the automotive industry, heterogeneous situation in different global markets, lower level of adoption than expected, high complexity. It is very, very important that actually software requirements management at its core helps you doing the right thing. And it also helps you doing the thing right, yeah? And, you know, based on the dynamics in the market and the challenges, doing it faster than ever before, yeah? And actually those three bullets and those three requirements actually require that, you know, you do a digitalization of digitalization, which means nothing else than you need to achieve a higher level of automation, because otherwise it's too expensive, too you know, labor intensive to do it, and impossible actually to manage the complete digital thread and software, you know, production process. Yeah, I by purpose plugged in here ChatGDP because it also means actually that in the near future, artificial intelligence will play a key role, and with some OEM players, it's already playing a very important role, and probably only with the level of productivity gain you get through artificial intelligence, our customers, PTC customers, the market players in general actually will be able to master the challenges of the future. Okay, so now let's continue with you know, our view in terms of how Codebeamer can help as a cockpit, you know, for software innovation. Yeah, I use by purpose the term cockpit in the context of a cockpit. Yeah, and the following slide shows, you know, two cockpits, you know, from two prominent OEMs. Sorry for picking those two, but we have, you know, good relationships with many of them. But I wanted to pick, you know, BMW and Volkswagen with the iX series and with the Carriot model line. And this is kind of just a teaser at the beginning. What I really wanted to show here is an illustration, and some of you might have seen this slide, how Codebeamer is actually integrated in the digital thread, yeah, and how Codebeamer is linked to, you know, the tool ecosystem around it, and why it's important to have deep integrations for a seamless digital thread, for high productivity, and for reasonable, overseeable total cost of ownership to run the tool chain. Yeah, and one fellow from actually a Carriot, I think I can share his name, Jesko Glant. He shared with me, you know, that within Carriot and Volkswagen, kind of Codebeamer is seen as like the spider in the web. Yeah, like it's kind of a central place, a central cockpit, yeah, which allows you to manage the processes, to manage actually the software innovation thread, yeah, in terms of teams, but also to have the corresponding, you know, integration possibilities to all third-party tools, to have the corresponding, you know, KPI information for management, quality assurance, and all the DevOps capabilities integrated, yeah, with the corresponding tools, yeah. So it's kind of an integral part of an effort to actually master the challenges, to achieve high quality on time with, you know, optimal costs. Yeah, and that's actually you know, the objective of Codebeamer as an ALM tool, to support our clients, our customers with their efforts, and to actually overcome some of the challenges I talked, and also even equally or even more important, to help to meet the business objectives. Okay, so let's have a look at time. I'm already a little bit tight, I need to say, and I just observed. So software-driven innovation, business value. Yeah? I will recap partially what are important business value parameters: time to market, standards compliance, security compliance, innovation equals software, product line management. Yeah. So let's look quickly now how Codebeamer can support you there. Yeah. So does this look familiar, like kind of a Kanban board on a whiteboard with lots of stickers? Yeah. I found that picture quite interesting because there is, actually it's quite structured there, but it's a better, smarter way to do that. Yeah. And this slide is also something I wanted to share with you here. What means incremental customer value in terms of agile development? Yeah. Incremental customer value means not like, I can do nothing with version 1, 2, 3, or it's incomplete. Increment value means every value increment is usable by customers, yeah, and it has actually a purpose and it can fit, the requirement, and it increments value as said, yeah. So this is something, Codebeamer is very much supporting with the possibility to do hybrid development, to do waterfall and agile development in, let's say, in one ALM tool context, yeah, with the corresponding template, yeah. This is also, in a sense, yeah, we know the sprint cycles. This is kind of illustrating, lay down how you create value in a week schedule, from Monday to Friday, yeah. Map out the idea, sketch different solutions, decide on the best solution, build a fast prototype, yeah. And actually, when I talk about prototype, I want to share with you one thing. We also partially do it at PTC with the Codebeamer team. Fake it before you make it, yeah, and fake it such that users can look at it and say, yeah, that's exactly what I wanted, even it was not fully built. The advantage is you get early customer feedback before you invest actually more in a first prototype, yeah. And then Friday test with target customers, yeah. So from challenge to learn, iterate that process, yeah. I felt it makes sense sharing that with you since it's critical, obviously, for time to market and innovation. This is also, I remember I talked last time about it. I keep pointing out this very aspect here is agile development. And I also say out of our own experience with the architecture of Codebeamer and in working with many automotive OEMs and tier 1, tier 2s, yeah, tier 3s, decoupled releases is essential for allowing you to actually deliver incremental value, yeah, with a very weak architecture where everything is totally convoluted in terms of interference and system architecture. It's going to be not so easy to actually have the possibility to make value increments with releases in your release cycles in an agile manner. This is just an example here in terms of what Codebeamer, provides here. The agile release train, the planner, and also the KPI statistics in terms of progress of projects and maturity of projects, test coverage, and so on. I just shared 3 screenshots here in order to illustrate something, because otherwise you might say, you know what, this is all abstract. I don't know how Codebeamer does this really. Yeah. This next slide here is kind of an overview in terms of legal basis for over-the-air updates. Yeah, we talked about software-defined vehicles, connectivity, and the possibility and the need to actually do software upgrades in a fleet of vehicles or of cars which are out at customer usage. Yeah, I will not go through all the details here. I will just actually say yes, functional safety, cybersecurity, homologation. That's very important. Product liability, a product that is put in service must provide the level of safety which can be expected by general public. Yeah, this is obviously not only legal requirement, it's also moral requirement, obviously. Yeah, and our customers must adhere this, yeah, for multiple reasons. So the question is, how can Codebeamer help you here? Yeah, I wanted to illustrate also here with a few examples, with the ASPICE 26262 template, a trusted tool chain, which is, yes, 26262, ISO certified, but also allows you agile development at the same time. Yeah, and this is very important for making sure your innovation success is there. I need to speed up a little bit. Managing component and life cycle, reuse. Here, working sets. This is for reuse, relevant for reuse of software components. Next example here is a couple of press releases which are illustrating why partnerships are so important. Yeah, I wanted to illustrate, it can't be done alone. Our customers are partnering because it is required because of the level of effort. This is an example, and we will, for time reasons, not go in detail how Codebeamer can help you. Yeah, with RecGive exchange. Robot truck works with fast charge. Yeah, how can you with Codebeamer do this inter-exchange, organize those inter-exchange with a partner? How can you do it with a partner? How can you do it internally? This is 3 and 4. Yeah, RecGive, and then internally, for different components of the battery management done internally, just to illustrate these 2 alternatives. Yeah, this is variance management, also very important for reuse, for software reuse, and for obviously, reduced platform costs, because if you are able to do variants, you can build one platform for multiple product lines. Yeah, and that's reducing actually your total cost, R&D cost, but it's also allowing you to do faster innovation, reduce time to market. Yeah, I picked up here Pure as a very strong strategic partner of PTC, where we have a very nice integration between Codebeamer and Pure systems. Yeah. Now here, just to sum up here, this is Codebeamer in the center with all the kind of features and functions. Then around, key value and business objectives actually you want to achieve, and some reference logos, and I will quickly go through Veoneer, and you will get the slides so you can read out those slides, how Veoneer is using Codebeamer and why they have chosen Codebeamer. Another one is BMW. I remember I talked about BMW. Codebeamer is used as requirements management tool for the autonomous driving, but also now roll out across the enterprise. Volkswagen is another example within Carrier, but multiple brands within the Volkswagen group, Mercedes-Benz, and voila, a little bit over time, sorry for that. Here is my summary. Yeah, key business objectives, business value. Codebeamer is able to create for our automotive customers, and then unique attributes, and then examples of areas how this is covered in Codebeamer. This is an overview of PTC customers in the mobility segment across the globe. And here is my summary, and sorry for being a little bit over time. So what are the 5 important points? Yeah, ACES requires flexible adoption, which means smart requirements management in order to be able to react to market changes and market needs. Yeah, software-driven innovation is key. Yeah, high software complexity and development cost means you need partnering. Codebeamer is able to support you there. Agility is crucial for staying relevant, and actually Codebeamer, we are very much convinced, will support you in creating value in order to stay successful, innovative, and creating wonderful, nicely accepted products in the market. Okay, so thank you for your attention, and Torben, Karl, not sure if we have still time for questions now, but here's my summary on my person, and if there's still interest, we can spend a few minutes on questions. Okay.
Thanks a lot, Andreas, for sharing these interesting findings on Codebeamer and all the references you have there that you have been very engaged in, I know. So yeah, I think we could have at least one question for those who are still here. So let's open up for that. So see if you have anyone who could raise your hand, and we will let you ask the question. Let me see here. I had one question actually here. That was actually regarding how do you actually get started with a Codebeamer product, and who should get, I mean, involved in a successful Codebeamer project?
So how do you get started? There is a very clear advice here. We as PTC say, yeah, start walking before you run, and pick a good project which has high chances for success. Yeah. So which means nothing else than, you know what? Start with a project which is from a complexity point of view, from business objectives, and from a software, let's say, innovation point of view, good, adoptable, yeah, and then learn from there, yeah. That is our general advice, yeah. Maybe one more point on this: Codebeamer is generally quite strong in getting started quickly. You don't need to invest 6 months of integration and template configuration. It can be done fast. Yeah? So that means you can start in an agile manner, and then you learn from there. Yeah? And then you continue. You check what worked, what didn't work, yeah, and then you go from there. Yeah. So kind of an agile approach, yeah, rather than a waterfall approach, which means, oh, we are starting now, we are planning now for 12 months, yeah, how we roll out Codebeamer to all of the enterprise. We rather say, you know what, pick a project, pick a department, yeah, and then you learn from there. Yeah. Okay.
Thanks. I think actually, I mean, if you have still any questions to Andreas, I mean, you could stay and, I mean, put your questions in the chat, but time is unfortunately out. So many thanks everyone for joining this session, and special thanks, of course, I mean, to you, Andreas, for again, I mean, sharing a lot of, I mean, interesting stuff here. So hope to see you also back, I mean, already next week for the PTC talk. And then we have it about innovation in uncertain times by Cognizant. So stay tuned for that. But again, I mean, please stay here online, and I mean, if you have any questions, put them in the chat, and Andreas could stay for a little bit more time here.
I can absolutely. I can stay online. The rest we will respond through Teams messaging. And thanks for attending. Have a nice weekend, and all possible success for your projects. Yeah. Okay.